How sad am I? I'd say like novice to intermediate.
And people are just crying the whole time. It's like, how can one man be so lonely? I thought this was about a band. No. But it's touching my heart. Alright.
I'll say it, that's giving me tingles.
So whenever we first started kind of getting serious about the band, Ben's wife, Haley, who is a graphic designer and still designs a lot of our stuff, wanted to try to nail down what our vibe was, I guess. And so we came up with a few different words that we felt would exemplify the band, or at least exemplify like kind of like where we wanted to head, like the direction we wanted to head in eventually. Those words were colorful, frenetic or frantic, and moody. None of us are exactly normal guys. We all, have lots of issues, and that's okay. And I think like because of the way we are, we feel lots of ups and downs, and like especially exaggerated ups and downs, and the colorfulness and like zaniness is like one side, and then like the moodiness and just kind of like off kilter, frantic stuff is another side to us.
When people listen to Telesomniac, I want them to connect in the ways that I've connected to other bands. I mean, with whatever band I was listening to, I know that there's been music that I've listened to at certain times in my life that, because the person was writing about something that was really similar to what I was going through, I felt like I wasn't alone. I, to this day, write poems as like an emotional outlet. Like when I'm feeling a lot, it really helps me to digitize it, I guess. Just like writing memos like in notes on my phone. I use it a lot to sort out what I'm feeling, express it. Sometimes I'll write it in terms of like, ooh, I could use this with the band. Sometimes it's just lyrics that I come up with and they don't really lead to anything. And it's just kind of a soft drifting melody in my head that I have for a moment, and I put lyrics to it. Sometimes I'll make a voice memo of what that melody is with it. A lot of the times it just kind of becomes almost like a journal from time to time. It's like I've read through old poetry that I have that's like, wow, I was very depressed in a really horrible place at this time in my life. But it's like really cool poetry that like sort of crystallizes a mood.
I hope when people listen to the songs I write and they maybe are sounding sad, that if that person is feeling sad, that can help them feel a little bit better after they've like partaken in that.
Ben and I met because my older sister married his older brother, and we met at the wedding.
We were initially a little standoffish to each other until one of us, I don't know who, asked if the other person had seen Kung Pao, and from then on, it was like we'd known each other for years, and we just became friends very quickly and started to play music together too. The music started probably the next day when he brought over a guitar, and we playing guitar together and singing songs like Beatles songs and stuff like that.
We started writing music together. There were these two girls that we had a crush on. They were twins. We super liked them, and so we wrote them this stupid, cheesy song. We just flowed together. Ben was really good at chords, and I was pretty good at lyrics, and we like performed it for them. Gosh, it was really cringy, but I mean, that was like the start of kind of having stars in our eyes, like, wow, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. I want to like write music. Later on, we really wanted to start a band, and finally, when we both lived in Utah, we were like, okay, cool. So we're together. Finally, let's start this project. And we realized that the vision that we had was way bigger than just two guys trying to play music. I mean, like I had a guitar with like a bass slung around on my back, and he had like two synthesizers he was working with.
It was a mess. We could pretty much only do recordings, not performance.
We were just like, man, this is a lot of sound that we're trying to do, and I was trying to like operate like drum machines and stuff at the same time, and like in another synth. And so we decided to look for band members.
Myself and Ben and Dave all worked at a music store, and we were just chatting one day, and we're like, hey, we should jam.
We jammed that night, and it was that night, I think, we were just like, let's make a band. I met Brad at Best in Music as well.
When I got back from my mission, I was really, really depressed, and I didn't play guitar for like a year, and I love guitar so much, and it was like such a big part of my musical upbringing was like learning the guitar. I wanted to kind of break this streak I'd been on. I decided I wanted to fix up a bunch of the stuff I had, so I went to this music store to go get it fixed up, and I walk in, and I'm just talking to this guy. The guy I'm talking to is Ben. And so we start talking, and he says, you know, what kind of music are you into? And I start naming off some bands. I'm like, I like Radiohead, I like At the Drive-In. Dave walks in, and Dave is also wearing like a shirt of an employee that works there. I was like, who's this crazy guy walking in here? Came in, and his hair is insane, and he's just like flailing his arms around or whatever.
Okay, so I went to Best in Music. I was picking up a shift from Ben, and there's this guy talking to Ben about Radiohead and cables and pedals and whatnot. And so I started talking to him, and then I asked him where he was from, and he was like, Texas. And I was like, cool, what part? Because I lived in Texas for a while.
And I say, I'm from Beaumont. And he's like,
dude, that was my favorite place. I love Beaumont.
Where in Beaumont? I was like, well, I'm not actually from Beaumont. I'm from Silsby, which is like this podunk town just north of Beaumont that nobody knows about. And he's like,
what was your name? Brad. And I was like, Brad what? And he was like,
BB. He's like, I know your family. And I'm like, this guy is crazy.
And like I told him my name, and he was like, wait a minute, when I was on my mission, my family was talking to me about you. This is so weird. And so I was like, dude, you want to come over and jam some night? Just a jam session. When we really wanted to recruit him, so he came over,
and he played a solo over coaxial shift that was so good that we were just, after that we were pretty much sold, and we were just like, yep, Brad's in the band.
So the story of me joining Telesomniac is their old drummer, he quit like 2 weeks before they went on a tour through the Pacific Northwest. And so I just got called by Dave.
like, hey Alec, do you want to come on tour? It's in 2 weeks.
Sounds cool. It's like, okay, well, I'll send you the album and you just have to learn all the songs.
And then he learned all of our songs in like 3 days. It was pretty crazy. So we like him.
And so I just kind of got wrapped up into that.
I would imagine in the first time you listen to us play, it's gonna be a little different because we try to be really new and experimental with our music.
My jazz piano teacher, Ludi, he started teaching me jazz piano, and that was really fun for me and a really great change of pace for me. Wow, music that's fun. This is great.
I see the song progression in colors. I mean, like Tides is sort of like a lot of red, sort of blues in there, and then Lost Child is very blue purplish, some whites mixed in there, a little bit of red. And then like Dear Brother's very green and red, and then orange near the end, so on and so forth. And I like to put a lot of diversity in sounds and dynamics. I mean, 5 people on a stage, it can sound just like a wall of noises, which we try to stay away from. We try to be more dynamic in our music. I just like having lots of colors, lots of tastes, lots of sensations. In a hopeful sense, I would say colorful.
Okay.
For me personally, when I listen to really good music, I don't know, I get kind of like tingly and just kind of inspired to like, I don't know, be better at life in general. And it's kind of like cheers me up when I'm in a bad mood, and just a way to really get away from the world and kind of a release for me. So that's what I hope to put into our music, is a way that people can listen and just kind of escape the world for a little bit and kind of enter the Telesomniac world for just, 20 minutes or whatever, just to get away.
People always will come up after shows and tell us, during such and such song or during the entire set they were having like an experience, and that's kind of what we want everyone to have. You know, it's not just like, you know, an hour worth of headbanging or an hour worth of, you know, chilling, vibing out, but we kind of just want it to kind of be an emotional kind of roller coaster where you know, you're traveling with us as we play our music. You know, wherever the destination ends up being, you felt something that night. That's really what we try and convey.
You know, a lot of people, like, I think Dave falls into this category. He'll write music, I think, starting with the melody or words. For me, I start with the chords, and I sit at the piano and I play chords and improvise and try to find a good sequence, like a good harmonic sequence that I really enjoy, one that I think I would like to hear played over and over again. Despite that I like to play jazz music, which, I mean, it's repetitious in its own ways, but, you know, it likes to change a lot. I like to do music that can have a nice slow build and sometimes is repetitious, you know?
The most important thing for me when I'm writing a song is to help somebody feel something. And if I'm doing that and I'm enabling people to be able to insert themselves into like whatever narrative is going on and like make their own interpretation, that's why I make music. And I feel like I'm doing my job as a songwriter when I do that.
Passing with the things you say, passing up on my old ways, I can't blame you, no. Passing it from miles away, passing with the things you say, passing up on my old ways, I can't blame you, no.
With music I listen to, I like it when there's lots of layers to go through and lots of stuff to figure out. I mean, listening to Pimp a Butterfly, I remember the first, like, maybe 8 or 10 listen-throughs of that album that I was just like, whoa, this is this! I never knew that this was referencing this, and it means this, and he was talking about this with that. That's so cool, and, like, I try to, I guess, emulate that as best as I can. And sometimes I fail. I guess a lot of times I do. But, I mean, I'm learning.
Passing with the things you say, passing up on my old ways, I can't blame you,
I think my favorite song to play would be actually Lighthouse. The parts that their former drummer had written for this song are really interesting and really fun to play. And at the same time, it's just such a beautifully orchestrated song that, you know, I can sit back and be playing and be listening, just kind of zone out during the song, and, you know, I can experience and feel something myself.
"31 Flashes in the Dark" comes from the song The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse takes on sort of a dual meaning. In one sense, it's kind of like the lighthouse is the band. You know, I've wanted to do music for such a long time. I've wanted to perform and to write and record and do all this stuff in a collaborative way, especially with Ben. Ben and I have wanted to do some kind of thing together for such a long time. And then finally, I can be with a band and make music. It feels like discovering a lighthouse, and the 5 of us kind of running in there and being like, this is so cool, look at all this stuff we can do. And I mean, being a band, it kind of, I guess in a way, is sort of like being in a lighthouse, we're kind of up there and presenting ourselves to everybody. There's another sense to it where I was very lonely, I guess, just kind of like being single after a sort of long time relationship back in 2014, late 2014. I was kind of in a state where I was pretty depressed. We started the band in like mid 2015, and so I was kind of in a sad state where I was kind of wanting that sort of a relationship again, you know, a best friend, because I keep seeing all of my bandmates, you know, Ben got married and Brad got married, and they're going off with their best friend to spend their lives together. The 31 flashes represents how many flashes it would take for like a searchlight to spell out hello friend in Morse code, and it was kind of my searching for that friend.